Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out and participating with our Lunch and Learn for our round 2 of our food service management. If you're out to bid this year, you're going to hear some great information from our friends at the Department of Agriculture, Child Nutrition. We have Emily Frank, Jill Niglio, and Shatima Murphy today. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and, well, before I turn it over, the Q&A, if you have any questions, please put those in the Q&A. I know Jill will be looking at those along with Emily and Shatima. They'll go ahead and try and answer those right away. And if not, we'll hold them to the end. The second thing I wanted to remind is that we did a session last week, last Wednesday. So if you weren't able to attend, that session is up online on our webpage with the handout, and you can go ahead and watch that session. At this point, though, Emily, it's all yours.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, everybody. I'm going to go off camera just because I'm going to be typing and sharing my screen. But I just wanted to say hello before I do that. So I'm going to go off camera for now. Okay. All right, so good morning. Welcome to the Food Service Management Company RFP screen training. Like Matt said, my name is Emily Frank, and on with me are Jill Niglio and Shatima Murphy. And Jill and I will do our best to answer the questions that come into the Q&A box live, as we go. But if not, if there's anything unanswered, we'll address those at the end. And then we'll also give you a little more time at the end if you do have questions. So the completion of the RFP, which is done by you, by the SFA, and the review and approval, which is done by us, by the state, that's going to take place in the electronic contract approval system, or ECAS. So during this training, we're going to go through each screen to show you how to complete an FSMC RFP in the ECAS system. Once you enter the information to complete each screen, and then once it's approved by us, of course, then you'll have the ability to have a PDF document generate out of the system. This will be the RFP document that you provide to the interested FSMCs. You can either physically print it, it'll be a PDF that generates, or you can use it as an electronic file. And then you'll be able to begin entering your RFPs on February 1st. So again, you'll want to wait until next week. Next week, I believe the 1st is a Thursday. Next week, that's when you'll be able to get into the ECAS system to start to enter your RFPs. So then also another note, the individuals who have access to ECAS to enter the RFP are the certifier and alternate certifier in the SNEERS application packet under user management. So again, those are the two individuals with the SFA that have access to ECAS to enter the RFP. That's the certifier and the alternate certifier in SNEERS under user management. So you can check that, see who you have listed there, and edit it if you need to. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. So to access the ECAS system, you'll first need to log into My New Jersey. So this is the My New Jersey screen that you'll see. And then you're going to click to access the food and nutrition system. So that's this link here. And of course, hold on one second. I think I got timed out. Apologies. Okay, and we're back. All right, so this is the My New Jersey screen. Sorry about that. And then you click on the food and nutrition system link. So that will bring you to this dashboard. Then you're going to scroll down and locate the ECAS icon. So it looks like a little document coming out of a folder. So you just click that to enter. Then you're going to click the drop down arrow here for select SFA, and you're going to pick your SFA. We're going to use just any state board of ed as our sample, but you'll see your school when you click that drop down box. So once you select it, then you'll click on continue. This will bring you to the ECAS dashboard. So this is FSMC contract world. So you're going to locate that box here. top left corner, and you're going to click on the Continue to FSMC Contracts button. Okay, then once you're on this screen, you want to scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see FSMC Procurement Summary, that heading, cost reimbursable and fixed price. And then you're going to click on the green Add New Procurement button. So once you click that, you're going to see that your two options are cost reimbursable and fixed price. So you'll click whichever option you choose based on which contract type you want to procure. So the overwhelming majority in New Jersey are cost reimbursable. So that's the one we're going to do today. And then I'll just point out where the differences are for the fixed price screens. There aren't many, so I'll point those out. All right, so you click on your contract type and then click to submit, and that will bring you to the first screen. So this is screen 1, SFA and contract details. So you're going to complete each field. The required fields have a red asterisk, and ECAS will not allow you to progress until they're completed. So anything with that red star, the system won't let you continue if you miss one of those fields. So I'm just going to type in some information here, and then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information about what we're typing. So, it's administrator, email address, proposal due date. Okay, so you want to pay close attention to the dates that you're entering. So you're going to enter your BA name, your BA email. You're going to enter your proposal due date. Now, with that due date, keep in mind that we ask for 15 business days to review. It doesn't always take us that long, but there's a lot that are doing the RFP this year. So just keep that in mind. Try to plan that date accordingly. You can enter the person to receive the proposals. This can be someone who is different from the business administrator. They don't need to be the same person, but they can be the same person. Position of that person that's receiving the proposals. Pre-proposal meeting date. So this is not mandatory, but we highly recommend it. This just allows the full and open competition between FSMCs, so that you want to give them all a fair shot, so they can come in and see the facilities and ask questions and that sort of thing. So again, not mandatory. There is no red star next to that one, but we're going to put it in here for these purposes because we do highly recommend it. So if you're having one, then you want to put in your meeting location. Contract start date must be 7/1/2024, unless you are severely delayed, but we can talk about that if that occurs. But otherwise, this is the start date. And then the automatic fill for the contract end date is going to be June 30th. That's the term of the FSMC contract. Okay, next, there's going to be a contact person for RFP questions. Again, this can be the same person throughout. We'll just put in a different person, someone else to help and field those questions. You want to put in their contact email there, and then the due date for the RFP questions. So a note on that. So the RFP questions due date must be at least 5 days before the proposal due date. So it's got to be at least 5 days before the proposal due date is the deadline to ask questions. responses to those questions must be provided at least 5 days before the proposal due date. So if your question due date is only 5 days before your proposal due date, then you'd have to provide responses to all those questions that same day. This just allows the FSMC to incorporate your responses into their proposals. So hopefully that timing makes sense. So again, you just have to be cognizant of when you're scheduling all of these things. Also, if you are having a pre-proposal meeting, it's best to give like at least a day for the FSMCs to submit RFP questions. Just allow them to, attend the meeting and then maybe the next day follow up and submit some questions. So we recommend that, if you're having your proposal meeting on the 15th, at least make your RFP questions due date the 16th or later. Okay, then you'll also include wherever you would like the proposals to be submitted, you're going to put that address in here. So if that's the address of your school, that's what you would do. Okay, and then once you have everything completed on the screen, you'll click this bottom button, the green Submit and Continue button. Okay, next, this is screen 2, Program Operation Details. So under Programs Operating for school year 2024-2025, you're going to click the checkbox next to all the programs that will operate in the base year of the contract. So these are going to be all the programs that you are definitely running for the 24-25 school year. So we'll go and select a few. Okay, and we're going to select summer food service, just so I can show you there's going to be a bonding percentage that will need to be entered in a later screen. So we're going to select that to show you where, but you might not be operating SFSP or child and adult care. Okay, then under potential future programs, you're going to click the checkbox next to all of the programs that you might potentially operate in one of the 4 renewal years. So again, you don't have to select anything here. If you think the only thing you'll run in the renewal years is what you've already selected for your base year, that's fine. We do recommend, though, that you check as many of these as possible, just in case, so that, if you're not operating breakfast and then you decide to do it in the next year, then as long as it's checked off as a potential future program, you can begin operating that program the following year. So we'll just go through and select some of these. Okay, next. You're going to need to enter your RFP protest procedure. This can't be skipped. You have to type in something here. It will be specific to your school. Whatever your procedure is, you'll just describe it here in this text field. Okay, next, in the cost reimbursable fee structure contract, you're going to select which fee structure you would like the FSMC to use when proposing. The 2 options are either a flat fee for the school year or a cents per meal fee. This does not appear in fixed price. In fixed price, that's a per meal rate for breakfast, lunch, snack. So that would not appear in the fixed price. So this is one of those spots where fixed price will differ from the cost reimbursable. So you'll select either one. We'll go with flat fee. Next up, who's providing menus? So this selection will be, would you like the FSMC to submit 21-day cycle menus with their proposal? Or will you be including 21-day cycle menus in your RFP? We're going to go with requiring the FSMC to submit them. Next up, if you have geographical preferences for any foods being purchased, locally or regionally grown, you'll select this box, and then a text box will appear, and you want to be specific about what items you would like to be locally purchased or grown. So we'll just say okay. On to equipment. So these 4 radio buttons are for selecting or telling the FSMC what you are interested in when it comes to equipment. So if you do not want the FSMC to include any equipment, you select the first one. If you'd like the FSMC to propose and purchase equipment, you'll select the second. If you'd like the FSMC to purchase specific equipment that you know that you'll need, you'll select the third one, and then you'll also have to list that equipment in a later screen. We're going to select that one to show you that. The fourth option is to tell the FSMC that they should purchase what you've listed in the RFP, and then that they also have the ability to propose other equipment they think might be necessary for the successful operation of your program. So those are the 4 equipment options. We're going to select the third one just so we can show you how to list specific equipment should you know that you need it going into the next year. All right, next up is staffing. So this is where you're going to tell the FSMC how the staffing should be handled. So this first one is for if you have no SFA employees at all. So if all of your food service staff is going to be provided by the FSMC, that would be option 1. Option 2 is if the FSMC will provide management staff, but you have SFA employees that will be hourly. The third option is for the FSMC to provide both management and hourly, and if the SFA has both hourly and salaried. So we're going to select option 2 just to show you once you select option 2, and that again is the FSMC providing management labor and your SFA employees providing hourly labor. If that's the case, then you want to take that total amount of SFA labor, that cost, and put it in here. Okay, and then once you've completed all of screen 2, you'll scroll down to the bottom again and see that green submit and continue button. Okay, and then I'm just going to pause for a second to check in on our Q&A. Jill, is there anything that we might need to address now?
I think we're good so far. There's one question that we need to do a little research. So, but other than that, I think we're good.
Okay, perfect. All right, I will move along. Thanks. All right, so now we are on screen 3. This is charges, bonuses, and incentives. So here you're going to complete this chart with the meal prices that are charged to the students, and along with the estimated minimum number of serving days. So again, that's the price charged to the students, and then the minimum number of serving days. If the students won't be charged, so if your school district is CEP or area eligible for SNAC, then you'll still enter a 0, but otherwise you'll be entering the price that's charged to the student. The estimated minimum number of serving days is just that, it's a minimum. We recommend allowing a bit of a buffer for that for snow days or half days when meals might not be served. So I'll go ahead and enter some sample numbers here for you. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can see, you just type in the values there. These are some sample numbers for you. Next up is the anticipated unpaid meal charges for the upcoming school year. This is just an FYI, it's just informational only. You just type in whatever you foresee being the anticipated unpaid meal charges for the school year. Okay, next you'll enter your insurance information. And then there is a text box right below where you enter these amounts. If there are additional insurance requirements, you would just type them here. All right, next up is bonuses and incentives. Here is another spot where the cost reimbursable screens will differ from fixed price. In fixed price, there will not be a bonuses and incentives spot. This is only for cost reimbursable. So you can either agree to bonuses and incentives being paid to the FSMC, meaning that you would be funding those, or you could not agree to the bonuses and incentives. So if you agree to pay bonuses and incentives to the FSMC employees, you would click that radio button. And then you'll just type in the type of bonus or incentive, the eligible position, and then the grand total dollar amount that you're willing to fund for all of those bonuses and incentives. And then also for these types of charts where there might be multiples, there's going to be a little blue plus button and an add item link so that you can add as many as you need. So we'll add another one there just to show you how that works. And then your grand total dollar amount that you are willing to fund. Okay, and once again, once you have all of the fields filled out, you scroll to the bottom of the screen, and again, there's that green submit and continue button. One second. I missed a spot, apologies. So on this screen, on the screen number 3, charges, bonuses, and incentives, all the way at the bottom, if you'll remember back to screen 2, we had selected that the summer food service program would be operating in the base year. So since that is the case, we have to enter the SFSP bid guarantee bonding percentage in this box here. And then we'll submit and continue. Okay, on to screen number 4. This is the RFP scoring criteria page. So on this page, you're going to enter scoring criteria and assign weighting factor percentages. The total cost must be a criterion. That one is filled in, it has to be there. And it must have the highest weighting factor percentage. The weighting factor percentage for all of the criteria must total 100%. The system won't let you move forward unless this is completed correctly, unless those total 100%. It'll give you an error and then you can fix it before moving on. I'll just type in some samples here. Have a criterion about menus. And then we'll have a criterion about minimum staffing requirements required by you as the SFA. All right, and then over here, you're going to type in your weighting factor percentages. So we'll do 50% for total cost. 25 for menus. And then I'm just going to show you how the error message appears. So we'll type in. Sorry. That's me. Give me 1 second to refill those in. Okay, now that we have those filled in, and this is filled in incorrectly, so you scroll to the bottom of the screen, you can see that this only is showing that the total is 95%, but we're gonna try and click submit and continue anyway. And you'll see that this red error message pops up at the top, lets you know there's a problem, and then you can scroll down and you'll see that this is outlined in red, so that you see weighting factor percentage must total 100%. It's only 95, so you're seeing that error message. So you just go back up and you correct the error. Now that's reading 100%, so we scroll back down, green submit and continue button. And now it does not prevent you from moving forward. All right, now we are on to, actually, let me stop for a second. I just want to make sure, how are we doing with questions and answers? Jill, is there anything we have to address?
I forgot to take the mute off. We're okay. We're rolling along.
Okay. All right, so we will move on to screen number 5, which is the cost responsibility summary. So you're going to make selections of either included or not included on this screen for each item. Any item that is marked not included cannot be charged to the SFA. Items marked included can be charged to the SFA. For fixed price, items that are marked included must be included in the per meal fee. So on the fixed price screens, it won't look different. It's just how those costs are included are different because of the structure of the contract. So we'll just go through and I'll make selections as an example. Okay, so once again, any item that is marked not included cannot be charged to the SFA, and items marked included can be charged to the SFA. All right, and then down here, if you have something additional that you'd like to be included on this screen, you can always use that little blue plus check mark and you can add a direct cost item. All right, once these are all selected, you'll scroll to the bottom again and click that green submit and continue button. Okay, now we are on to screen number 6. This is the FSMC SFA activity responsibility summary. And this screen is not about the charges, but about the activities. So you're going to select which activities the FSMC will be responsible for and which activities the SFA will be responsible for. If there's an activity that should be shared, you're going to need to include the details of how that is shared on the final screen where you can enter RFP modification information. So I'll just go through and select these as an example. Okay, and once again, if you have an additional activity that you need to outline the responsibility for, there's that blue check mark, plus symbol with the add activity link. So you just click that and then you can type in whatever that activity is and select a radio button for it. So once these are all selected, you scroll to the bottom. Again, the green submit and continue button. Click that to move forward. Okay. Here we are on screen 7. This is SFA equipment and staffing. So this equipment section is going to depend on what was selected back on the program operation details screen. That was screen 2. So if you'll remember, we selected the option that states that the SFA, that you as the SFA are requesting specific equipment. So if that is the option that you're selecting, then you have to list the specific equipment that you're interested in. So we're going to do the add equipment link. So that's that blue plus sign. Once you select that, it's going to ask you for the site where you need that equipment. So you just scroll to, and the things that will generate in this drop-down menu will be from SNEERS. So whatever sites you have entered will generate here. So you'll just click whatever school site you need that piece of equipment at, and then do add equipment site. It will pull the address from SNEERS. You'll type in the equipment that is needed. Do a walk-in freezer. You'll enter your quantity, however much you need. We're going to do 2 here. So you need 2 walk-in freezers at this elementary school. And then the other thing that you're going to need is the total estimated cost of that investment. So that will be how much you think that or that you are able to spend on the 2 walk-in freezers. So you'll just enter that amount at the top here where it says total estimated cost of investment. Okay. Next, you're going to select whether you have minimum staffing requirements. So if you have minimum staffing requirements, you're going to enter the positions. So if you'll remember back to our RFP scoring criteria, there was one that listed that we as the SFA care about the minimum staffing, that the FSMC is meeting that. So we're going to say that we do have minimum staffing requirements. And once you select that radio button, down here, a chart will pop up. We have that blue plus sign where you can add the staffing requirement items. So we'll click there. Once again, it'll be tied to a site. So you'll want to select the site where you need the staffing. So we'll do the elementary school again. You click to add the assigned school location. The address will generate again. And then here you're going to enter the position needed. We'll need a manager, the number of staff in the position at this location. So we're going to say there's 1. How many labor hours a day will that position work? And then the total hours will generate for you. You don't have to fill that in. And then if you have multiple, you can add as many. This is not limited. So we'll just add another one. We'll do the elementary school again, just so you can see another example. Needing servers, 2 servers needed at that school, working 7 hours. And then your total hours again will generate. All right. And then finally on this screen, you're going to select your food service director requirement. So if you need the FSMC to provide a full-time food service director on site, you'll select that button. If you don't, you can select that you do not need the FSMC to provide a full-time food service director. We're going to select that we'd like the FSMC to provide one for us. All right, and then once all of these equipment and staffing needs are entered, you'll click that green submit and continue button to progress. Okay, this brings us to screen number 8. This is the SFA to SFA agreement or consolidation agreement screen. This section is going to depend on whether your school has SFA to SFA or consolidation agreements. And that is, you indicate whether you have those or not on screen number 2, the program operation details. That's where you would check that you have SFA to SFA or consolidation agreements. So if they were checked on, and that would be for the base year. So this will only pop up if you have checked it that you might have a future SFA to SFA or consolidation agreement, then this will not pop up here for you. But if you have checked it that you will operate in your base year, you're going to see this screen. So you can see SFA has the following: SFA to SFA vending meal contracts and or consolidation agreements. There's some information on SFA to SFA and consolidation agreements listed, and then the chart is below. And then you're just going to add whatever those agreements are. So we'll enter one as an example here. We selected on screen 2 that we have consolidation agreements. So we're just going to enter a consolidation agreement as our example for today. Also, if there is a meal type that won't be provided to the school that has consolidated or the recipient SFA, you'll have to type in a 0 just to show that those meals won't be provided. So here we're putting a 0 in for dinner. And the type of contract, again, is if it's a consolidation agreement, you'll click the consolidated radio button. If it's SFA to SFA, you would click the vended button. All right, and once this is completed, oh, and also, again, we have the blue plus sign if you have more than one. Some schools have multiple SFA to SFA vended meal contracts. Some have multiple consolidations. You can add as many as you need here using that add contract item button. So scroll to the bottom and then click on the green submit and continue button to progress. Okay. So here we are on our final screen. This is screen number 9, documents and modifications. So under the SFA additional documents heading, just right here, this is where you'll upload your completed Form 372 or New Jersey FSMC RFP workbook. We will have a separate training on how to complete the Form 372. So if you can hold off on the questions for that, we will do a separate training. We'll go through tab by tab. This is just a reminder that you can email deptncontracts@ag.nj.gov to request the Form 372. You only do this after your December reimbursement voucher has been paid. A lot of you have already sent those in, and we've sent a few of them out. Just bear with us. We send them as quickly as we can. We insert data onto the first 2 tabs, so it's a little bit of work on our end before we return them to you. So just give us a few days turnaround time there, but they have been rolling in, so continue to request those, and we will have that separate training. So when you have completed your 372 and you're ready to upload it, you do select document type, pick your 372. Then you want to select browse and upload to locate that file on your computer. Here we just have a blank 372. So you select it and then you click open. Apparently I don't have permission to open that file. Okay, so we're just going to have to imagine that that worked. My apologies, there's some tech issues. What would happen is Form 372 is selected, you browse and upload, and then upload the file. I'm going to see if I can do a different kind of form, just so you can see it up here. Okay, so once you select the file, it will appear in your document list. So document type, it'll tell you the Form 372 because that's what you selected. The file name, that should say the completed Form 372. uploaded, date and time uploaded will appear, who it was uploaded by, and then you also have the ability to remove it if it was a mistake. So if you've uploaded something incorrectly, you just hit that little trash can delete button. Okay, next, excuse me. If you'll be including any additional information, it must be added under the RFP modification request section right here. So what you're going to do is see that little blue plus sign for add modification. Then you're going to identify the section name that you would like to modify. The letter or name of the section. And then in the description, you're just going to say what you're modifying. And as long as it does not conflict with the RFP contract, that would be acceptable. And we'll review those, you know, whenever you type anything in here and you submit it to us, we'll review to make sure it's not in conflict with the rest of the RFP contract. So I'll just type in sample. Okay, so once this is complete, you've uploaded you've done all of the screens, you've uploaded your completed form 372, and you can see it there. You typed in any additional information into the RFP modification request that you might want to add and want us to review. Then you're going to scroll to the bottom of the screen, and you can see here, instead of saying submit and continue, this green button says certify. And this button means that you're ready, that you're done, you're ready to submit it to us, to the state for review. If you would like to go back and modify things, or you're, you know, keeping it as a work in process, do not click on this certify button, because it will essentially send it over to us, and then you won't have the ability to go back to any of these other previous screens. So the one kind of glitchy thing is that if there isn't a way to save this page, so you'll have, if you don't click certify, then you'll have to re-upload your form 372 and retype in these RFP modification texts. But hopefully, you know, you've done all of that, everything's all ready. You just click to certify and it gets sent over to us for review. Okay. So corrections after state agency review. So after you've clicked the button to certify, we'll begin our review process. Again, we ask that you allow us up to 15 business days to complete the review. If there are any corrections, changes, or additional information needed, we'll request it on the applicable screen. So give me just a moment. I'm going to enter.
Emily?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, before you leave this, there's a couple questions. I think it would be easier if maybe you went back and
Oh, okay. I can go
before you get out of this this one.
Yep. Do you
Can you
want me
go
to
back? There was a question about staffing, like if they have some management company and some SFA staffing, how to show that. So I thought maybe you could go back to that screen.
Oh, sure. Okay, let's go. Let me see if I can back in there. Okay, so you are wondering about staffing. Okay, so you said the question is if the SFA has both FSMC staff and its own SFA staff, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be either option 2 or option 3, and it will depend on what kind of staffing that is. So option 2 is for if the FSMC, excuse me, is providing only management staff, so like salaried management staff. And the SFA is providing only hourly employees, you would choose option 2. And then option 3 is if you have a mixture. So if the FSMC is providing both, like hourly and salaried, management and hourly staff, and the SFA is providing both, then you would select option 3. Does that answer the question?
Okay, yeah, and then there's several questions on the charge details, if it should be the current charges or suggested charges. I guess I think this all means the price per student charges.
Okay, yep, so we'll go to charges, bonus, that's screen 3. Okay, so it sounds like the question is about the paid student breakfast price, paid student lunch price, paid
Yes.
student, okay. Yeah, so these are going to be what the prices will be for the coming school year. And then Jill, maybe you can answer this. When is that determined? Do you know?
It's usually, I mean, I don't know, in my experience, most of the schools decide that in the spring. The maximum prices don't come out usually until June, but you know, most of the school districts are not at the maximum price, so if you have an idea, I mean, it's an estimate, but if you have an idea of what it's going to be for next year, and this is these are I can't see, wait, hold on, I can't see the screen, the minimum prices.
Well, so the serving days are the minimum. I think
Okay,
like
I can't see the screen, I'm sorry.
oh, sorry. So the paid prices, we'd like to be as accurate as possible. So if you, I guess that might be an issue. Like if you don't determine what the students will be charged until very late, that might be an issue. I would say shoot us an email and let us know that timeline. Like, you know, when during the school year do you determine what the students will be charged, and then we can try to help you figure out your timeline from there. So I would say shoot us an email at the DFN contracts, and we can help you with that issue.
There is no harm, though, in just putting the current meal prices in here, because it's saying selling prices of the school breakfast will be no less than. So if you use
yeah.
current prices, you're fine.
Yeah, your current prices would be okay. Okay.
Okay, and then the other, oh, I'm sorry. The other, got a bunch of questions about, if you like start filling out the RFP and you have to stop, how to save it and complete it later.
Yep, so, that was the one glitchy thing. So, as you're going through and completing, once you hit, now, since this was already certified, you're not seeing that button, but when you click the submit and continue button, it saves everything you've done on that past screen. So then as you progress through each one where you, sorry, excuse me, each one where you click submit and continue is going to save your work. The problem comes up with screen number 9, because if there is not a submit and continue button, so if you get to screen 9 and you know that you need to go back to one of the previous screens to make changes or to do something different, just don't enter anything on screen 9 yet, because the only option is to click certify and submit it over to us. So hold off until you've got all your previous screens done and ready, and then you can upload your completed 372 and enter your modifications and then click to certify. Does that make sense? Give people a minute.
I think that's
that's
good
okay
for now with the screens. Thanks, Emily.
Okay. Okay, and that now we're good, Jill, to move on?
Yes, for now. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Yep, all right. So back to, so we've just submitted, certified it, so it's in our court at that point for review. So once we review, if there's any corrections needed, we go in and we review everything, and then we'll communicate back to you through ECAS, through our reviewer comments section. So I'm just going to do an example of that just so you can see if your RFP does get rejected, we'll show you how to address that. So give me one moment, because I just have to log in a specific way to show you this. Give me one moment. Okay, thanks for your patience. All right, so once we've done our review process, you're gonna come back, you'll get a notification email if, you'll get a notification email either way. So if it is rejected and needs some corrections, you'll get an email, or if it is approved, you'll get an email as well. So you'll log back in My New Jersey, you'll go to Food and Nutrition Services, you'll come to the ECAS dashboard, and you're going to, again, we're in FSMC contract world, so you'll continue to FSMC contracts, click that blue button. And now if you scroll down under FSMC procurement summary for cost reimbursable and fixed price, rather than clicking that add new procurement button, you'll see there should just be one here for you. This is our test environment, so you're seeing some other ones, but you'll see the one that you entered, and then it will show you the status, and this status is showing as not approved. So you just click the link to access the procurement. And then at the top of each screen, the top right, you'll be able to tell pretty quickly where the errors are. So if it says approved, that means that this screen number 1 is approved. So the issue's not on screen 1. So then you can navigate to screen 2. And here we see it says not approved. So based on that, you can tell there's an error somewhere on this screen. So once you see not approved, you'll scroll to the bottom. And at the bottom, there is a reviewer comment section. And there will be a date and then instructions on what was wrong and how to fix it. So for this one, under option 2, the incorrect amount was entered for the SFA labor expense. So it says enter 65,000 for SFA labor expense under option 2. So you'll just go to option 2, where we entered the SFA labor expense. You'll just adjust that to 65,000. And then scroll to the bottom. Once the correction is made, make sure that goes in there correctly. Scroll to the bottom and click submit and continue. It'll take you to the next screen. This screen is approved.
We agreed.
So is this one, and just a secret, I only did one example. So the rest of the screens are all approved. But you'll want to click through every screen because you may have multiple errors. So click through every screen to see which ones are approved, which ones are not approved, and make all the necessary corrections. And then you'll go all the way to that last screen again. And if there's anything, any corrections needed on this screen, you will see at the bottom the reviewer comments box, and information will be typed in here. Since there is no reviewer comments box, that means no changes are needed on this screen. So on this last screen, you just want to always make sure, are there any reviewer comments? And then if you've made all the corrections, you just click certify again. All right, and then I'm going to, if you just bear with me for one moment, I'm going to go in and approve so you can see what happens when the RFP is actually approved. Great, thanks again for your patience. Okay, so you will get a notification, again, notification email once that RFP is approved. So you can come into your into the ECAS dashboard. Again, FSMC contract world that we're in. So you click continue to FSMC contracts. You're going to scroll down to the bottom where under the heading of FSMC procurement summary, cost reimbursable and fixed price. And now we can see that that entry is approved. Now, once it's approved, this is how you will access the document. So you're going to click that link again to access the RFP. So you don't want to click add contract. Do not click add contract. That's not until you award a contract. So you want to just click the link for under procurement ID. Once you click that, a box will pop up and you can generate. If you click the link state approved RFP, that will generate the PDF version of the document for you. And then you can also click the link below to access the form 372. So that will be the final approved 372 that you can access as well. I am not able to click this link to show you. It just generates a PDF document of all that you entered on the screens. All right, so we'll close out of that. So that is the correction and then approval process. Okay, so let's see, I think we talked about all the way through. Okay, all right, I'll stop for a moment. Jill, are there any other questions we need to answer now?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay, so then if you have any questions after this training, again, our contact email address is the dfncontracts@ag.nj.gov. Just shoot us an email there. We try to be very, very responsive out of that email address. Email is the best for us at the moment because we can properly research and give you the best answers out of that. And then always identify your school, your SFA name, and it helps if you have your agreement number included as well. That way we can look into your school specifically. That always helps us to answer, give the most informed answer to you guys. Again, ECAS will be open for RFP completion on February 1st. The deadline to submit RFPs is going to be April 5th. So again, the system will open up and you can start to enter RFPs on February 1st, and they're going to be due to us for review by April 5th. So you have to have them submitted by April 5th. There will be resource documents for the FSMC RFP process in SNEER's resources. We're going to be posting those by the end of this month, by next Wednesday, the 31st. Again, we'll have, resource documents, trainings that will be posted. Apologies, they're not up there yet, but they will be there in the next few days. All right, so thank you for attending.
Emily,
Oh, yeah.
I misunderstood what you said. There are some questions here I haven't got to, so.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I was gonna say thanks for attending, but I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were moving
That's
on.
okay. Nope, not signing off yet. I was gonna say just, thank you for attending, and then I'm just gonna give you guys a minute as you think of
Okay.
questions. So Jill, if you want to start to answer some of them, or I can look through also. So we're gonna give you a few minutes. If you come up with questions now, feel free to type them in and we'll try to answer as many as we can now. So we'll do that.
Yeah,
Can we
Emily,
also clarify the equipment? The equipment, if you list equipment or ask the food service management company to tell you what they think you need, all that equipment is a base year purchase. It all has to be in place in the base year, and it's amortized over the 5 years.
I can continue on answering these questions that are already in.
Emily, if you could take a look at the list of questions that are still open, and if you could just go ahead and answer those live, that would be great. That way, we could.
Yep. So I'm
take
going
a
to do
little
the ones
relief
I
from Jill.
believe that we addressed. I'll just do answer live
Sure.
and say that we're done.
Some of them we addressed, and I just didn't
Yep.
get rid of them with the
I'll go through
charges.
and tick those off.
I think we're up to the question about, do you have samples of typical
Yep.
RFP protest procedures?
That I was gonna say, I think that is exactly where we are. We don't, because it tends to be specific to the SFA. So unfortunately, we don't have samples of that we can provide you. Okay, so it looks like there is a question: would lunch aides, non-serving, or cashiers be considered hourly employees from the SFA, or is it just relative to people who would be active in preparation and or serving? So it would, the staff, whoever is working as part of the school lunch or breakfast programs, the school nutrition programs, that would be paid through Fund 60, that's who would be included. So hopefully that answers that question.
The next one, are potential food service management companies still pre-approved and vetted by the state? Yes, definitely. And we just finished up the registration process for the food service management companies. The directory of registered food service management companies for 24-25 is going to be posted in SNEERS next week. By the latest will be January 31st. And you can access that in SNEERS resources. So yes, you can only award to a food service management company on that list.
Mhm. Okay, looks like the next question, I missed the beginning of the webinar. When can all of this be started? / form 372, etc. Okay, so I think I mentioned towards the end of the presentation, ECAS will open up for you to enter information into the RFP screens on February 1st. Form 372 can be requested. You request Form 372 through email. You email us at dfncontracts@ag.nj.gov. Identify your school name and agreement number. And before you can request that, you just want to make sure that your December reimbursement voucher has been paid.
Okay.
The next one, can you provide a sample protest procedure? We answered this one before. Unfortunately, this is specific to the SFA, so we're not actually able to provide you with that. Apologies. With the RFP modification request, how do we know if we need this? Where is the whole document to see if there is something that we need to change? So we will be posting a sample RFP contracts, the Form 17 CR and 17 FP. So the cost reimbursable version and fixed price version. We'll be posting that by the end of the month, by the 31st at the latest. So that is where you can see the entire document. And hopefully that will tell you if there is anything needed, anything that you need to modify or add to the RFP modification page.
If any of you have unique, requirements that you want to include in the RFP modification, that's where you would include it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, any special details about your school, yeah, you could include it there. Okay, when the RFP is generated from the state, is that what we use, or is there additional information we would supply as the district? Okay, so the RFP, when generated from ECAS, is one piece of the whole RFP packet. Another piece is going to be the Form 372. But once you generate the RFP PDF, if you scroll all the way to I believe it's the second to last page or the third to the last page, that provides you with a list of everything that needs to be included with the RFP packet. So that's generated there. And you'll also be able to see that in the sample Form 17s that we'll be posting to SNEERS resources. Does the system generate a form notice for RFP? I think what this question is asking is about the advertisement. Is that, Jill, is that how you're reading it?
That's what I think it means.
Okay, yes, so on let me see if I can navigate to it on the screen. Hold on one second, I might not be able to. Yeah, okay, so yes, it generates the language for you. So you're going to enter in the details on screen 1. And so this is going to have like your due date, if you're having a pre-proposal meeting date, all of that information, where to provide the proposals, all that information will be there. And then once the RFP is generated, I believe it's page 3 or 4, provides you with the language that should be used when you advertise the RFP. However, that's just the language. What you'll have to do, or my understanding of the process is that newspapers or news outlets require you to retype that into like a Word document and send it to them. But we do, the language is there for you, that you can just retype the language from that page that generates. Hopefully that answers your question. When will the webinar be for Form 372? We will have that posted on SNEER's training before the end of the month. So again, by the 31st, by next week, we'll have that available for you. Is there a sample legal notice for the RFP?
And we answered that.
Yeah, we answered, because, right, I'm assuming that's the same that we just addressed. So we answered that one. Never done a FSMC procurement. Is the district responsible for putting the ad in the paper? Yes, the district is responsible for advertisement, and there is a requirement that it's advertised in a regional news source for 1 day, at least 20 days before proposals are due.
And I think Matt mentioned this earlier at the beginning, but just in case any of you came in late and weren't able to participate in the lunch and learn we did last week, but there is a recorded webinar going through the entire food service management company procurement process. So if you didn't see it, it is recorded and it's on, the ASBO website. So that will be helpful to you.
Yeah, yep, that's an excellent point, Jill. That you might want to go back and rewatch that or watch it for the first time. There's a lot of good information that Jill presented then that might answer some of these questions. And it looks like we have an attendee who did answer. The protest procedures should already be something that you have in your boilerplates, and they are governed by the public school contracts law. So thank you for that response. So this is the full RFP, and it will cover all the requirements for procurement. We only send this packet out to the FSMC companies who are interested. So we sort of addressed this. Again, there is a list of all of the required components of the RFP packet that will be at the end of both the sample Form 17 and at the end of the generated RFP from ECAS. And then we only send this packet out to the FSMC companies who are interested. Yes, correct. So you'll advertise, FSMCs will reach out. You are not prevented from reaching out to FSMCs to see if they're interested. It's just that you absolutely have to advertise at a bare minimum. But they should reach out to you if they're interested in proposing, and then you would provide the RFP packet to them. Would the recommendation be that we generate our own RFP that would be going out to the vendors and then fill in the ECAS with that information?
I'll answer that. No. You can't generate your own RFP. You've got to use ours as printed from ECAS.
Yes, good answer. Must use ours. In ECAS. So I'm in ECAS now. It appears to be live. Yes. You have the ability, but we ask that you don't do that until February 1st. So if you could be patient and wait until next week, that would be lovely. So, but yes, you are correct. Do we need board approval before advertising the RFP? This would also be district specific. So what we require is at the point, like after you have awarded a contract, we have to see board approval of the award of the contract, but you'll need to check with your district on whether board approval is needed before advertising of the RFP. We're not able to answer that one for you.
Okay.
What is the date the contract needs to be approved by the state?
The RFP, the deadline to submit the RFP for our approval is April 5th. The deadline to submit the awarded contract is May 31st. And then the deadline for the final contract to be approved, I think it's June 30th, because I think the 31st might be a Monday, whatever the last Friday in June is. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but for the awarded contract needs to be submitted by May 31st for pre-approval.
So hopefully that answered the question. But you should have a final approved awarded contract in place by
Let me
again,
look
that
at
last Friday in June.
I'm looking. June 28th. That's the Friday, June 28th.
June 28th. Yeah. Okay. Just to clarify, if our local newspaper requires 8 calendar days to publish, the advertisement must be published 20 calendar days before the proposal. In order to meet the date, you have to get it. Yes, that's good advice. Everyone don't procrastinate. I'm guilty of that sometimes myself. So yes, it's best not to procrastinate. And yeah, the dates can be a little bit tight.
Yeah, and I don't know, you may have mentioned this, Emily, but we have like over 180 SFAs that are going out for a base year contract, which is a very large amount. And the sooner you get your RFP in for approval, the quicker we can get it. If all 108 of you wait till the deadline of April 5th, it's definitely going to be tight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we ask for 15 calendar days, or I'm sorry, 15 business days to review. We try not to need that, but if, like Jill said, if all 180 SFAs submit on April 5th, then we'll need to utilize all of the 15 days to try to get through all of them. So yeah.
Very good advice. Everyone don't procrastinate.
Yeah. Earlier the better. Does a certified resolution need to be submitted with the contract, or is the contract approved by the state first and then the board? No, so the awarded contract is approved by the board first and then submitted to us for review. So you would submit your certified board minutes along with that awarded contract.
Okay, I see that's the last question that has been answered. Great job, Emily, Jill, and Myra. I mean, you guys were really, each question would come in and you would go ahead and complete the response. Quite a few out there, over 50 questions that came up.
Matt, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't know if they're still on, but we had a question from Bergen County Special Services. So I just want to if you're still on, we're going to research it and get back to you.
Oh, okay. So Bergen County Special Services asked a question that we'll have to research?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Well,
it's very specific to their district. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
With that, I'm going to say thank you to our presenters, Emily and Jill, for taking time and really helping our members. I know you want a smooth process. You're there to help our members to go ahead and get the best that they can for their students, and we appreciate that. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'll mention it again. This is recorded. We'll have this posted. I hope to have it posted by the end of today for anyone that wishes to go ahead and watch again. Or if you have someone in your office that needs to see it, you can have them go ahead and watch it. With that, I thank you. Our next Lunch and Learn is next Friday, February 2nd, and it is on hot topics in finance and debt issues as you prepare for your district budget for next year. We have Phoenix advisors to go ahead and present on lease purchase financing, capital program finance and planning, and a review of the district's continuing disclosure requirements. Hope to see you then. Thank you all. And the third part for food service, will be at the end of March.
Yep, we'll see you end of March. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank
I
you.
am going to stop recording now.